talking about, being on the journey with ancestors and, our Mukulu Gogos, are we going to say that we're worshiping them or we worshiping God?
I like that question.
Yes.
We won't say we're worshipping our ancestors,
Yes.
because they are always forever present in
our lives.
right now, all the time. I am of the view that they live with us in the spirit. So we're always connected, we're always in one place. So it's not really to be worshipping them. When they talk about God, those people who promote God in the way that they promote God as a person or as a spirit that is to be worshipped.
Yes.
But me, I believe otherwise, because I think maybe also I know that God is everything that we are.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
And so it's good to go to church and gather and celebrate that, but not necessarily to worship God, but to be aware of God and be respective of God. God as in God, not God as in him, but God.
Yes.
Yes. So is part of that overarching, is part of that wholesome realm of life, as it is the unseen and the seen. The life that we see and the life that we don't see. Yeah, but it's there also. So all of that is one thing, and I don't think we need to worship there, but to be aware of it all the time.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's profound. That's very, very, very much beautiful. So with it said of us, not worshiping the ancestors, and we acknowledging they're there, and we acknowledging there's God, because we can see the world with our two eyes, and there is a world that we can't see with our two eyes.
Absolutely.
So if you check in our community, especially African community, we tend to not respect anymore our Gogos, our Mukulus. We want to reject them. We feel that whatever they bring in is darkness, or we even end up calling them witchcraft. They're not good, and especially in current generations, whereas the beliefs that were introduced to Africa, I would say, had taken over in a way that we are so lost, we don't want to acknowledge our own people. What could be the fact? Is it because maybe there is no more truth within and among our spiritual people, or is it because we are so colonized that even our African spirituality is also colonized?
This is the other task I was talking about. I'm not saying Africans are not awake.
Yes.
But it's the task of just lifting that up.
Yes.
And contributing to those who are already doing it, because there's plenty. Like yourself, you're already doing it.
Yes.
So there's a lot of people who are already doing this work. Africa is wonderful place to be.
Yes.
I've had invitations to go and live in the UK. I declined. I said, and even in the US, I had such an invitation.
Yes.
But I just didn't want to live
anywhere
else but here. So when it comes to us as Africans of today, seeming to be pushing away this other aspect of our social life, yes, a lot has to do with colonization. I want to believe. In fact, it is a fact. There's a lot of wrong that happened to us during that, because of that, and many other things that have happened to us as Africans, being influenced by other people. You see, and there's a lot of unbundling and undoing that we need to do to revive who we are. And when I look, I can see it coming.
Yes.
When I look, I see it emerging right now. When I really, really look, I say, wow, it is good to see it coming back.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, yes, that's true. We need to stand, because by sharing like this, we are at the same time educating our future generations.
Yes.
They will have an opportunity to hear and listen what is all about spirituality, because some of African families, we don't have that truth. We don't have anyone who is in the African spirituality, and they might not even be able to explain it to those hungry children who are searching and researching about that reality or that truth. So you know, so that is already that was actually also going to on how we can educate our nations, and that have answered everything. But when we tend to see even our own healers and sangomas and gogos and mkulus, when we talk, just like we're sharing, but they're all going back to the Bible, you know, so that's why I get a bit confused, because the Bible was introduced to Africa, you know, just like any other religious book that we tend to run to. It was an introduction, something foreign, which was not for African. But then, if we're saying that our spiritual or our spirituality is is the best, or is what we have been carrying since the time we don't know, from our great ancestors, why do we have to see our own healers run to the same book that has been used to oppress people, that had been used to maybe also enslave people? Because within the Bible we talk about slavery. Within the Bible they're talking on how a slave should behave toward his master, and how the master should also behave to enslave his. So all those things we find them inside the Bible. But then why, if our own spiritual people, spiritual guiders and leaders, have to run to the same Bible in a way to guide us? Were there not something that was sustaining our belief back then?
There was always our own belief system.
Yes.
But as we have said, there was colonization and all kinds of things that indoctrinated us to, you know, brush away everything else and go to this book and rely on this book. You know, you are indoctrinated all the way from grade 0, from creche, all the way, you know. So
a lifetime.
As time goes on, we will realize that the source is right there. You don't need to find it in the Bible.
Yes.
As I was saying earlier on, that is constant, it's always here. Ogogo nabomkhulu sihamba nabo ngaso sonke isikhathi all the time. We don't need to look for them anywhere, because they're already there with us. They don't live in a book.
Yes.
So yeah, that book has many controversies. If we can talk about it we will need 10 days, 10 years, I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just a subject on its own, because when you read about the history of the Bible, you discover a lot of contradicting issues about how it was written, who wrote it, and you know,
a lot of confusion.
We've heard a lot about what happened in the Europeans' times, in the earlier times, when they were constructing this Christianity thing, you know, and deconstructing something else to make something else. So yeah, it is quite a controversy then to see but you know, we have different ways of finding the spirituality. The essence is what you take from you inside. I want to use the word instinct, but it's deeper than that, you know, because it's a big feeling that's inside you that helps you to see what you can do. So maybe you use the Bible as a vehicle, but yeah, there are those controversies as we walk along this path. And I believe that the more we engage in this conversation, the more the clarity will emerge. Because anyway, Africa is seeking to find herself.
That's true.
So she will find herself, definitely.
Saying that, if we have to find ourselves and we're willing to find ourselves, don't you think maybe it's time that all our gogos, mukulus, people who have our history, people who have our wisdom, to come together and bring about our own book? our own book that can be called the Bible or whatever that it is, but it will be a spiritual book that African people can run to in a way to cultivate their spirituality. So I think we need all these, African nations to come together, to bring together the knowledge from our ancestors and from our go-go's, our healers, and put it in one book and say, maybe when we're talking about healers, this is the journey, this is how it goes, this is how it, when we're talking about those who are maybe seeing, this is how it starts, this is how it, then people are aware when they feel like, I need to know, maybe this is where I'm finding myself. They have a book to run to because they know it is where the wisdom of our own African healers and guiders and keepers of wisdom have shared with the world in a way to guide us. Don't you think it could be beautiful for us to have such a book?
Absolutely. The good thing about us as Africans also is that we were the people of the word. We shared our, my father, for example, I never saw his diary. But he remembered things like of 1900 and something.
Yes.
And it was all in
the head.
Yes. So us Africans, we have that gift, we have that culture of the spoken word and passing into generation to generation without, and it's not the truth that we don't write, because there's lots of documentation about us writing things. So it is true also that it maybe now
it is time.
Well, let's document it in this fashion. And the debate would be, do we need to cultivate it and say a particular way of living, or because you see Africans are very free spirits here, so I'm not too sure how there are we going to emerge in the future, but now we're having the conversation. Should we be writing down a particular way of living, or should we just write everything down and the person chooses what they choose? Because if you can see, every family has umsamo, right? Umsamo one like higher, okay, let me say Baba Hlatswayo, Baba Hlatswayo, you see? And Baba Hlophe, the other family, Baba Hlophe. So we don't have that collective umsamo where we go like a church, okay? And then and within each umsamo, we've got a particular way of doing things. However, there's a common thread throughout, Perhaps those are the things that we can bring together. Yes. But as much as, that book called the Bible has got its own things, we do need to, re-educate ourselves for the sake of our children. To the pride of being African and without feeling inferior, and interpret things, or the perspective. We do things from the African perspective. I think if we can go deeper in that, we will find a lot of freedom. And maybe there will emerge this way of life that perhaps we can then say we all endorse, Yes, which you have a baby, you become a boy, or a girl, and then you become a young woman, adult. What happens to you as you go through that journey? There are activities in other cultures, and I think throughout the continent, each culture does have. I'll use the Zulu and the Swazi. There are certain pathways, rite of passages that you go through. They're not written down really like like the Bible is, but it's what a village knows, that in such a season this is done. And boys do this, girls do that. And when they are this age, they do this, do that. When you are a woman, or when you are getting married, that thing is there, but it's not really written down. But we know it. Yeah.
But we need it.
So we need to collate it now into a book form, and maybe going to that point you were talking about, education.
Yes.
That thing called education.
Yes.
You know. We need to put Africa in it, because right now Africa is not there, you know. And then you come out of high school, you are this other thing that was indoctrinated in the school, yet you are walking the path of an African. And then you're lost. You're so confused. What the hell am I? You know.
And we keep on sending them school, and they keep on grabbing. They keep on feeding themselves with everything that they're finding outside.
Yes.
But when they're coming back home, we have literally nothing to offer them. The only thing we're thinking about is to bring the food on the table.
Yes.
They ate. They went to sleep. They're fine, because tomorrow they're going to educate themselves. Feeding the outside knowledge. That is literally building them to become outsiders. Then I think that's why we have so many difficulties within Africa. Even our economy is not working well, because we're not supposed to do our economy or our market in the manner we are doing, not being aware of ourselves, not even being aware of our own resources and our minerals. We are just so confused.
Absolutely.
So I think if we can have such books that speaks of our spirituality, that speaks of our minerals, that speaks of our land, our roots as African people, I think we will definitely have a very evolved Africa, which will bring more peace, unity, and at the same time we will live happily. We won't be facing all these economical issues where unemployment is affecting each and everyone, and now we're believing that for you to survive is only if you have a job. But way before, our great-grandparents never worked for anyone. They stood up in the morning, they went to the farms, they went doing this and that, meeting, talking, but life was there. They lived, they had cows, that was their wealth, they had the land, they had everything. So we're trying to run away from what is ours and trying to adapt what isn't ours. And I think that's where the battle is. But thank you so much again for clarifying everything. Before we close on this topic, I would love for you to share a message with our viewers. Maybe it could be an advice, especially for those who are struggling in finding their path spiritually. You know, like who are we? Like as African people, how can you find yourself, your spiritual journey? How can you understand your that calling? You know, and how can you come about to also grab that and embrace it, not run away from it and say, Bangalore, you know.
You know what I can say to your viewers,
our viewers, because they are our people, our African people.
Who am I, you know, in this huge, beautiful continent and planet and universe, but just a dot. Not to make myself as if I know everything, but to say, but to appreciate yourselves. Let's appreciate ourselves the way we are. There's nothing wrong.
It's true.
You know, and we do need to, you know, reincarnate ourselves whilst we're still alive in our lifetimes. Our little babies, you know, we need to show them more African things. As adults, we need to look deeper into the African agenda of who we are spiritually, of, like you were mentioning the wealth that Africa has. Just bring that awareness. And now living in the modern times and having been colonized and all of that, also say in that education, Africans also did invent quite a lot of things that are modern. And perhaps that is another thing that we need to bring up, you see, so that our children, they know that they can do things, they can make things. It's not only the other people who make things because they pretend they know everything. And I think let us have, I wish we could have And it's beautiful like this to have such many languages in Africa.
Yes.
But I do wish we could have, and language you develop, isn't it?
Yes.
I wish we could have a language in Africa that we use, that is ours.
Yes.
I've had many talks about Swahili,
Yes.
but I wish we had, because you see, language holds quite a lot of things that me and you are conversing in English.
Yes.
So we are captured.
Yes, it's true.
In order for us to convey
Yes.
something to each other, we have to go
Yes.
through English.
Yes.
And it's good for the English, and they want it like that, and they will make sure it grows like that, you know. But I really wish we could have more of our own language. You know, in schools, the uniform that we wear in schools, the schools are here to stay for a long time. So therefore, let's
bring something of ours into that education.
If we adopted this African these fabrics, which the controversy about the fabrics is that they're manufactured in Europe, some of them, even these
Yes,
are designed
yes.
there.
Yes.
But if we've adopted them and say, okay, fine, for now it's a representation that we
Yes.
say we as Africans will identify with,
Yes.
then let it be. And
Yes.
maybe then go to the schools.
Yes.
The uniform.
Dressed in our
Please.
own African clothes.
Please, ngiyacela. I'm not saying take off your shoes. Shoes, we wear them as Africans from
Yes.
long time ago,
ago.
right? So it doesn't mean
And
Afri-
proper shoes, not
Yes.
these things that breaks now and then.
It doesn't mean that Africans are naked or not
Yes.
dressed. No.
Yes.
But let's see Africa in everything that we do.
We do.
You know,
It's true.
the media, the television people. I don't have television, but I think I need it now because I have a daughter, so she wants to watch something.
Yes.
But if the television, we need to hear more African stories
Yes.
and images.
Yes.
We need to fight that fight.
Yes.
We really, that fight is a fight we need to fight.
Yes.
The billboards that we see, you know, we need to see the African value in them.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not being racist by saying this, but it's because we're lifting Africa that was
Yes.
previously done unfriendly by other people, unfairly, and
Yes.
Africa having not done such
Yes.
to anybody.
It's true.
And the good thing about Africa is that we're very strong.
Strong. Yes.
We're very strong. I wonder who could sustain such pain for over 500 years, you know, and don't
Do
and
anything.
and disappear. We are still here. We're still alive. We still play our drums. We still do our dance. We
Yes.
still sing. We still have our African stories.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we still have abogogo nabomkhulu
Yes.
siyaphaphata siyathokoza.
Yes.
Sisayishisa impepho ikhona nansi.
Yes.
Mm?
True. So
There
true.
are things that should by now,
Be-
according to the colonizers' wish,
Yes.
should be gone.
Yes.
We should even us should have disappeared from this planet.
But we can't.
But they can't get rid of melanin.
Never.
It's a very
Yes.
strong color. It will be
Yes.
there forever.
Forever.
You
Thank
can't
you.
dilute it.
Yes.
You will try to dilute it, but it will always.
Comes-
It's the original. So what are you gonna do?
It's impossible.
So that's the message I'm saying, is that let's just be
Yes.
proud of being African and be
Yes.
proud that we are good people, we welcome people, but now we're not going to allow them anymore,
Yes.
those who come to us to abuse our love
Yes.
and take advantage of our
us.
kindness and
It's
steal
true.
things from us.
Yes.
It's so hard to get them back.
Yes.
They took our gold away.
Yes.
Now we are pointing at us as a dark continent, poor people. But yeah, let us be proud that because of us, the world is rich.
Yes. It's true.